through our interaction with our small business community, we've come to realize that a lot of small businesses do not take into cognizance securing their business. Life is full of uncertainties, especially this time that we are in Nigeria, insecurity, a lot of things happening. It's very essential that businesses are insured. Even as a small business, it is very important that, insurance is in place, because a lot of small businesses just feel that, oh, I'm a small business, I just have one small shop, I'm just doing something little, I don't think insurance is for me. And people have a lot of math and some mindset towards insurance, which is not supposed to be. So we at QSA, we are for Nigeria, and the amazing thing about Coronation is that they have packages for small business owners. Isn't that Uche Okaranwolu? Yes, I hope I did that correctly. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Good morning. You're welcome to.
All right, thank you, Titi. I hope you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
All right, and then good morning, everyone. So you mentioned a couple of names, Officer and Defrek, Mary Abiak, Kehinde Grillo, actually my colleague in the office, and I'm sure they're also aspiring entrepreneurs. So key thing there too. Business insurance is also a very key thing for them to also understand how it works. So it's good that they're here to support me too. So how are we going to do this? Are you sharing the slide for me, or risk? How do we react? One of the things that had happened in Nigerian environment was the NSAS issue, and the NSAS issue kind of brought people's view to understand that insurance is actually a very key component in any business that seeks to survive. So again, we've had issues in terms of our background in the company. In the country. So I'll show you a bit about the misconception about insurance, which are clearly a dependence on who we are as Nigerians, in terms of our religion, cultural tendencies, and whole lot. Then, of course, I'll show us how to get insurance, how to manage a policy. Then, of course, the insurance product. I'm going to talk at length about two major ones, and then also give you a view to other policies that Coronation, has to offer. And then hopefully we'll have time to talk about who we are as a Coronation entity. Next slide. Next slide, please. All right, so quickly, when it comes to risk, um, risk clearly shows you what could happen that might be bad to your business. Certain things that might happen, just like Titi alluded to earlier, and that you basically see in the environment. Um, no, you're too fast, Titi. I'm not going through the how we react to risk. And so you can see um, how do you react to this risk? How do you react to the potential of something harmful happening to you or your assets? And people react in different ways. Some might say, okay, I'm going to avoid going into that business, or I'm going to avoid stepping out of my house so I don't get injured in any way. So the clear way to show I'm going to avoid anything that will make me, be involved in anything that might crystallize and be negative to my business or my well-being. And some people also look at how to reduce it. You can say, okay, if I have to reduce the potential of having an accident with my car, all I have to do is just maybe drive within my area. I don't have to take out my car and go on a highway. I can drive within my street, and that will reduce the tendencies of me being involved in an accident. And some people also accept risk. They acknowledge that this risk exists, and there's nothing can do or just to accept it and try and do everything they can to reduce the impact it might have on them as a business. But ultimately, the most important way of reacting to risk is what we call the risk transfer. This is where insurance comes in. So in this case, you have some level of risk happening. And then because you have an entity or an organization or a group that can take on that risk on your behalf, you're willing to transfer that risk to them, for them to take ownership of that. And then, of course, is at a premium, which you have to, pay after considering their offer. So that's where insurance comes in. But again, people have different conception about insurance, which I'll show in the next slide. Next slide, please. And so again, this misconception is influenced by quite a number of things. Our religious background, our cultural tendencies, the fact that we don't have enough information about how it works. When you tell people that something bad might happen to their asset, or maybe their house will get burnt at some point, or maybe one of the things they have as valuable item might get stolen, they will tell you, it won't happen to me. Um, God is at work. Some of us don't even understand that it takes a lot to even replace your asset. And then, because you don't understand how insurance works, there's always that tendency not to want to partake in it. I've been in that field before because I didn't really understand how insurance works for lack of information, and clearly that kind of influenced my view to insurance. Some people will say, no, don't. Some people will say they don't need insurance. I don't need it because it doesn't affect me in any way. I'm not gaining from it. Some people also say insurance is too expensive. Some of them will say I rather, have my money with me than fix my issues. Have my money to fix my issues than pay for insurance. You also see this happening in some established companies where they do some level of self-insurance because they feel that it's better for them to fix insurance. Some people might say it's better for me to invest my money than buying insurance from anybody. And there's this natural tendency we have in Nigeria where people think insurance companies are scammers because you look at a scenario where they will say, okay, how many claims has happened? I keep paying my premium every year, and for 5 years I'm not done. I've not made any claim, and so you're just eating my money. I'm not getting any benefit. But that's how people feel about it, and that's the general misconception people have about insurance. So as we go on, if you feel you want to ask me any questions, you're free to stop at any point. I need to point that out. So clearly, the onus falls on us, the practitioners and the regulators and the government to try and change these views people have of insurance. So there's a whole lot of way we're trying to do that. Having programs like this is also one of the ways where we can now start sending out information about how insurance works, how you can actually get on board, and then you can see how insurance companies are able to, create values for people like you. There's also a part where we need to do a large number of awareness, send to the public what insurance is all about, how you can, take up policies, how you can actually um, be sensitized about how to do various things concerning yourself as it speaks to warranty, and also how you can get your claim settled. The most important thing is you should be able to do your own due diligence about any insurance company and the ability to make claims for you. So next slide. So clearly, like Titi said, insurance is all about covering uncertainties. I'm also going to show you how insurance helps you as a business. But clearly, it speaks to how to avoid risk, reduce risk, provide some level of safety, provide some level of confidence for you, so you can continue to do what your business primary concern is. So because you know that if anything happens to you, insurance company is there to give you the comfort. So next slide. Next slide. So for small businesses, insurance will mean a lot of things. It could be a financial safety net, helping you and your loved ones recover after a bad incident happened. The misconception is one, but again, insurance companies have that responsibility to actually show you that insurance business is real in Nigeria. We can do that through a whole lot of processes, And so, but fundamentally, you need to understand that insurance business as it is offers you a lot of comfort. Aside from being a financial safety net, it helps you win more businesses. Clearly, there's some of us here who might want to venture into some sort of government project. There's certain policies you need to um, have in place. It also helps you with some legal requirements. For those of us who have staff on those, there's certain legal bits that you need to have um, in terms of certain policies which you have to have available. So if there's any point where you're picketed, you can show those government agencies that you have that policy in place, and then you won't be fined in any way. So again, it also helps you, effectively utilize your resources. Clearly, if you have a scenario where you have a claim happening, if you don't have insurance in place, it means you have to probably borrow money from your friends, borrow money from your colleagues in trying to settle the issue. Aside from you stopping, aside from a lull in your business at that point because of a claim, insurance company can come in and then provide that comfort for you and take you back to where you were before. And so again, one of the key things for insurance also, it helps facilitate and support issuance of loans for the businesses. So as small business, I know that loan is actually a key element of your expansion for those of us who intend to, become bigger. And again, by the time you approach the bank, um, the many types of insurance that are required for you to obtain that loan. And so if you have an asset that you are pledging as your collateral, you most likely will be required to do some form of fire and special peril. Again, by the time you're given those facilities, there's what we call credit life, which ensures the bank's obligation against any eventuality that happens to the loanee during the course of the business. So again, you reduce social burden in the event of demise or injury to key members. And so it points to quite a number of things that insurance can do. Again, it can also be a form of investment for those of us who take up investment linked product. But what is obvious and most important benefit of insurance is the payment of losses. And so these help take you back to your initial state without any fear or figure. So what I'm saying here is it helps you, in any event where any of your assets is involved in any um, scenario where you lose it or it is stolen. And I know that for every business owners, your assets, your life, um, and that of your staff members are also very key to ensuring that your business continue to create value for your customers and continue to grow. And so again, by the time we really understand that insurance can actually provide all these things for us, it gives you that comfort to actually concentrate on your core business while managing the risk is taken over from an insurance company. And then if a claim happens, we're there to ensure that this claim are paid as at when due. Next slide. Next slide. And so, how does insurance work? There are key parties to insurance. So you have the customer, which is you. You also have the insurance provider, which you can actually call the insurance company, or in some cases they call them underwriters. And clearly, those two are the major components, although you still have other things. You have the government, you have the regulators, as also part of the ecosystem of insurance. But clearly, first of all, you need to have a risk. Like take, for instance, TT owns the business, and TT is most likely, let's take, for instance, she's a baker, and then she has assets in her bakery, right? She also have um, stocks, maybe her powder, maybe her items, that are very essential in the business. She also have staff, maybe she has like 3 or more staff. And so these are areas where risk can crystallize. Her item can be stolen, you know. She can be working within her business environment and then she falls, she injures herself. And then also other things that are risk that can also happen to her business, which can actually delay her from delivering the service she intends to deliver to her customers. So once you've identified this risk, um, the best thing is to also engage an insurance company like Coronation, where this risk will be assessed, looked at properly, and then we look at what are the best policies you can have for those risks, and then looking at various parameters, the values of those items, the insurance your staff earns, and then use our own indicators to provide you with what we call premium. And then by the time you make that premium payment, it goes through an underwriting process where you're issued a policy which would define the terms of engagement between you and the insurance company. So what is key in this case is even in the law courts, while the policy document is what defines the relationship between you and the insurance company. So even at the point where you're issued a certificate, it's always mandatory that you ask for a policy document so you can also understand what is covered, what is excluded, so you don't put yourself in a fix when you're asking for claim, when you're trying to claim for your insurance policy. So clearly, what is fundamentally correct here is any insurance company in Nigeria will always present to you a certificate, depending on the policy you're taking up, and also a policy document which defines the relationship. You need to ask for a draft policy document so you can understand what you're going into. Clearly, it defines all the warranty you're expected to put in place in your businesses. It also defines the don't do and the do's you're expected to have. It also defines what is covered. It also defines all the necessary activities that you're supposed to have within your business entity. So it also shows you what you need to do when a claim happens, who you need to approach when a claim happens, and then all the necessary information about your risk that you need to have. Sometimes it's natural for us to say, I don't have time to go through the policy document, but ideally in Coronation, we have a relationship team who can help you, guide you through those policy documents, be able to define all the terms correctly for you, and then that gives you an informed view to what you're going into. So clearly, once you paid your premium, the insurance company will process or issue a certificate and a policy document, and then immediately when you have a claim, you can quickly do many things. Of course, I will show you some of our social media handles and our email at the end of the presentation. We can always get in touch with your account officer. We run a system where every account or every customer would have a relationship team that manages your request. So you can get in touch with them immediately and sensitize them about what had happened to you. They will guide you through the process of how you can get your claim sorted. Next slide. So I've clearly defined many ways how to get insurance. But again, the most important thing is there has to be an insurance company legally giving the authority to create this kind of relationship. And so sometimes some customers do diligence by asking you for what defines you as an insurance company, maybe your profile, and maybe some certifications to show that you're actually in business for real. So you don't have to, cut out any. So you don't have to now be worried whether the company you're dealing with is real or not. But before getting your insurance, right, you need to get a premium. Already defined that. And there are certain documents you need to provide which are valid, irrespective of the policy you're trying to sign. There are certain mandatory things you need to provide. Being small business owners, you have your CAC, certificate of incorporation, you have a valid ID. And then if it's an asset, right, maybe like a building, most likely with evaluation reports. All these things, once you're provided with them, we can go ahead and now do our own evaluation where you're given a quote, and then once you make the payment, we issue with a certificate, and then also with a policy document. I've also mentioned how you need what you need to do when a claim happens. Again, we have a special unit that handles claim processes, and even when you inform them of the claim, they will guide you on what you need to provide. Depending on the circumstances of the claim, um, you might need to provide a police report if it involves a theft. You might also need to provide pictures, and then of course, you'll be given a policy form, sorry, a claim form where you fill in all the necessary details. And then once you send in those requirements, they will guide you through the necessary process to ensure you get your claim as at when due. Next slide. And so, how do you manage your insurance portfolio? Um, there's a whole lot of ways you can do that. I know some people who would rather have a broker manage their portfolio. But because we're small businesses, sometimes that might be additional stress in trying to deal with an insurance company and also dealing with a brokerage and other hires. So there are too many people involved in your business. But clearly, there's certain mandatory things you need to do when it comes to managing your portfolio, no matter how small it is. You have to keep a record of your policy, uh, um, which involves your policy number, your policy document at all times. More like I mentioned earlier, um, it's important to keep those documents because in the case of anything happening to your business, to your assets, to your life, those are the key things we point to define the relationship you have with the insurance company. They are your personal document. You don't need to share with any third party except the reason where that is required. And maybe you have a business you're trying to go into and ask you to provide some sort of evidence to show that you have the insurance in place. You take, for instance, there's some government project that you go into, they will ask you to provide your group life insurance certificate. And even when you're driving on the road and people like LASPA or FRIC stops your car, then next thing they ask you for your car document. One of the things they'll ask for is your motor insurance certificate. So again, one of the things I would advise small business owner like you is to take on bundled products. And the bundled product give you multiple insurance packages in one. It helps you reduce your costs. It gives you more interface to have more than one policy bundled into one. Because one of the key people too is your relationship officer. The key thing here for us in Coronation is we have a relationship team engaged to manage the business of all customers we have in us. We have with us. So again, one of the things that we also advise our customers is um, convenience is also very key in any form of business. Coronation provides the opportunity for you to have easy access end to end for you to do your business. So we also implore you to download the insurance mobile app, for so you can have real-time information on your policies, real-time information on what you do when it has to do with claim. And so some of the things that I've mentioned, you might want to say, okay, what are the other things Coronation has that can give you that comfort to do business with them? So again, we have a lot of bundled products that are targeted towards people like you, which I'll share a couple of them in the next few slides. And so it provides flexible pricing and payment for you. I mentioned that earlier. We have a dedicated team that will handle all your insurance requirements and your insurance needs. We have tailored services offering you what you need to do to cover your most valuable assets in life. And one of the things that has stood us out in the insurance industry is always been the ability to pay claims. We have a standard 48-hour claim process, which means that once you've signed a document they call discharge voucher, which defines the value within 48 hours to get your money. We have an excellent customer service, and then also we have give you access with a lot of financial services and advisory within the ecosystem that we operate from. Next slide. So I'm just going to be brief. I'm going to talk about these two major products because
Um, yeah.
go back quickly to where I was. All right, so these are the two major products that we've actually sold to MSMEs like you. Um, One of them is the PPP, which in full is called Business Protection Bundle, which is actually one of the bundled products we have for SME. It's flexible, give you access to pay one premium for more than two policies, and then we have the SME welfare. The unique thing about these two products is the pricing are minimal for as low as 5,000 naira. You can get access, you can get this policy um, as part of your insurance cover for your assets and also your life. So the BPP, there are different bands, but the lowest is 5,000 naira. We're actually trying to come up with one which would be lower than 5,000 naira, but we're yet to launch that. So what does this cover? It gives you cover over fire for those of us who have assets, for those of us who are building, for those of us who have content. This gives you coverage against this asset. So if there's lightning, if there's explosion, and again, it can also be extended to cover riots, strikes, and civil commotion. I mentioned earlier about the NSAS. Clearly, NSAS taught a lot of us that insurance is actually a valuable part of the business process. We had cases where people didn't cover their assets. We had cases where shops were broken into, shops were burned, assets were looted. So if you have a product like this can actually cover your assets, can actually discuss with your insurance company to extend it to cover the riot, strikes, and civil commotion. And again, it also covers burglary. And so if you come in, somebody comes to your business, steals your asset, breaks into your shop, it also gives you a coverage over that. And so this can be extended to cover your personal item, even some of them can also cover public liability extension. So if you have people coming to your shop, um, okay, Techno, I you have a question, your hand is up. Daniel Titus, I can see your hand up. Do you have
Yeah.
a question?
I think we can take his question after your slide so you don't get
All
distracted.
right, okay, no problem. You can write it down. Like I mentioned earlier, I can be stopped at any time for you to ask questions. And so the other parts that I also feel will be good for SMEs that you use to protect your life and that of your staff within your company. For as low as 5,000 naira, you can actually have that. And so usually there's a regulation that says you have a minimum of three staff, you should have group life insurance in place. So this cover basically that. And so if any of your staff dies, rather than go about looking for money to help provide support for the person's family, the insurance company can step in and make payment to a defined beneficiary of that your staff member. And so again, we also offer some level of flexibility for the group life. We can extend it to cover critical illness, permanent disability, um, some form of post-medical support. So these two products are very key. In natural sense, a lot of SMEs, a lot of MSMEs actually taking this product because it gives them the protection they need for their assets and also for their life and that of their employees, as the case may be. And so this a hot cake in the market now. We've actually generated almost 1 billion working with the SME spaces in different part of the country. So these are very key. These are very key product I think SMEs would consider valuable for them. So next slide would also show things, other product you can take from Coronation, which also speaks to certain business operation that you might have at SME. Next. So I've forgotten that I'm the one. And so clearly, there are many things we offer. And these are, I'll briefly just, I won't go into detail so I can give you time to ask your questions. So there's a whole lot we offer. The fact that we have license on the right mode life and general gives us those opportunity to provide this product. So motor is key among all of them. Home household is also very functional for us. For those of you who don't own your house but you have content for as little as 5, 10,000 naira, you can actually cover those content. We do travel insurance. Clearly, very key now for those of us who have intention to Japan. We can cover you to a limited period. It gives cover against debt, also the medical expense you might incur in the course of your travel. For those of us who import regularly, it's also mandatory to have marine insurance certificate as part of your certificate for you to have access to import your items. So marine cargo is also very good. Then goods in transit, if you're moving goods from one um, place to another within the country. So these are key things that shows who into the operations of an SMEs. That also show you that for all the risk that you stand to face in the course of your business, there's always an insurance cover you can look at and see how this can be valuable to your business to ensure that there's no gap in your operation, to ensure that you continue to focus on the most important thing, which is to provide services for your customers. And then the part of risk coverage, is taken care of by an insurance company like Coronation. So I'll stop here. If there's any question on the presentation, I'll be willing to take them. I wanted to be as brief as I can. Then after the question, I can also maybe talk a bit about Coronation, and then we can call it a wrap. All right, Titi, I'm ready
All
to take
right.
any.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the insightful, knowledge that you've taken us through from the. We have one of our participants earlier before this call, and then the business owner was asking that, how are the ways that they can, is there a way that they can handle this insurance by themselves? Talking about the documentation, how do they pay their premium, how do they understand what is due, what is, the rules and regulation, the policies that are available. So how do they go about all that by themselves? Is it possibly something that they can do by themselves, or they have to go through, their insurance agent?
Okay, first, I won't advise an MSME to self-insure because what you're trying to do is you're most likely cutting deeper into funds or resources that you will use ordinarily for your business. And so you let an insurance company take up that responsibility. Um, in terms of deducing what the premium is, will be a subject of the information you make available to the insurance company. And so clearly we know that the MSME space has to be supported fully, which is why Coronation has come up with bundled products, make it accessible, reduce the premium to a point where it doesn't hurt your pocket. Again, we're also coming up with some form of self-service where we can provide platform or app for you to do an end-to-end transaction for your businesses. And so there are various areas where you can reach out to us. You can also um, talk to us directly to our contact center or maybe to our social media platforms. You can actually walk into any Access Bank branches too, because we have a Bancassurance relationship with Access Bank, and talk to anybody that you want to have more information about insurance. Now you can actually obtain the insurance from Coronation. And so there are different avenues. And so key thing there, I know people wouldn't like a case where they have to spend so much for insurance when it's an intangible sort of business. You don't feel it immediately except there's a claim. And then the potential of a claim happening um, depends on a whole lot of indices. So he's not even sure that a claim will happen. But if it does happen, I won't want a case where you have to spend from your money. Put those risks covered. Let's transfer them to an insurance company, and then allow your business thrive. So if you have any issue in terms of an issue happening, let an insurance company take that from you. And so again, these are some of the things we need to continue doing and trying to create awareness why you can access insurance. Um, Clear, in fact, will continue to educate the population on how to access your insurance, what to do. But most important thing is the industry is driving and to do a whole lot of stuff to ensure that the MSME space is giving all the support in terms of access to products that are meaningful to you, in terms of making payment for your premium, and also in terms of ensuring that if any eventuality happens, your claims are paid without an issue on your side, or you going through a lot to ensure to get that. And so we'll make it seamless for you at every point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That was very insightful, and I mean, I believe that that answered a lot of the question because sometimes SMEs have a lot to do, and then it's better that they rely on an insurance company that can help them go through that process. We have another question in the chat box. I don't know if I'll be able to articulate what this person is trying to say, but she's asking that is there a difference between the SME bundle and the business protection bundle for the insurance packages?
Okay. Yes. There are differences. One speaks majorly to your assets. The physical thing you have, your building, your content, your stock. You know, while the other one speaks to your life. So SME welfare speaks to life, a life coverage. While the business protection bundle speaks to your assets and is essentially a fire and special peril cover um, to cover just your assets and the content you have in your business. So those are the difference. What is life? One is for your assets.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Aboduri, I hope that was able to answer your question correctly. Let me know in the chat section if you have other clarification. We have another question coming from. Just a minute. From Kemi. She said, how many years or months does it take for a person to be able to make use of their insurance? Like, is it possible for you to make use of your insurance immediately? I think what she's trying to ask is, and maybe if you insure your business today and then you pay premium today and then something happens to you tomorrow, can you get a claim for that? I think that's the question that she's trying to ask.
Yes. So there's what we call no premium, no cover in insurance. You know, that means if you don't pay your premium, you don't not be covered. But as long as you made payment for your premium, on the day you paid, right? On the day you make payment, you have your cover in place. And so if 2 minutes after you made your payment, a claim happens, the insurance company is bound to make that payment because you're under cover from the day you made that payment. So you take, for instance, Kemi owns a car, right? And Kemi makes a payment by 12 o'clock, right? It's assumed and backed by regulation that that cover takes effect from the period of the time Kemi made payment for her car insurance. And then 20 minutes down the line, Kemi is driving her car to her friend's house or maybe to a shop. An accident happens. You can actually file for a claim and then a claim will be paid. So it takes effect immediately the payment is received by the insurance company. To answer your question simply, Kemi. Thank you.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. I must say that that's amazing for it because a lot of people just have this mindset that, and like you said, there's some of the misconceptions about insurance that, oh, I will never get to lay my claim. Even if I get to lay my claim, I will never be able to get anything, when anything happens to me. So I think it's a great thing that we're having, a webinar like this so that people can understand that even if you insure your business today, and then you pay your insurance, you have there's that my rest of mind that you have that if you lay your claim, you'll be able to get cover for whatever damage that you have. And we have one more question to go. And then it's just okay. And then he's saying, this is from Daniel. He said, that was a question. Sorry. Okay, I think that's all the question we have from the chat section. If you have any other question during the webinar, I will let you know. You mentioned that you wanted to tell us a bit about coronation moving forward.
Yeah. Uh, okay. So I wanted to also say, yeah, I saw the question Kemi also added that then does insurance cover everything if a mishap happens? Well, um, insurance ordinarily should be able to cover what it is spelled out to cover. Um, insurance does not cover everything, which is why what your policy document states is fundamental to the relationship you have with the insurance company. And there's anything that can be covered. So you take, for instance, somebody who has a group life cover in place, then he or she commits suicide. Insurance will not be able to pay for that life, right? And there are also certain things that are called exclusion. Is in your policy document, and for certain reasons, they are termed as exclusion. So, what I would advise you is before you go into an insurance relationship with an insurance company, it's fundamentally apt that you ask for what the policy document says. What does it cover? So the policy document will detail the things that are excluded. So whether it's a car insurance, whether it's a mine insurance, there's certain item that are excluded that cannot be covered by insurance. So you need to also have an idea of what those items is. I can get them from the policy documents you have with your insurance company, just to chip in that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So one last question that I would like to ask is that sometimes when these small business owners think about insurance, sometimes I think they're overwhelmed by because of the mindset that, oh, these people are going to ask me a lot of documents. They're going to tell me to bring this, to bring that, to bring this, the paperwork and that. So I wanted us to talk about that. That how do or what are the documents that Coronation will request for when these small businesses want to begin their process of insuring with your organization.
Okay, so we take for instance, we actually made it easy um, for our customers to have access to different policies we have in place. And for instance, you have to do a car insurance. There are certain fundamental documents you need to have. The vehicle license, your car documents, pictures of the cars. Once you provide those ones, and then you fill a form, and that's it. So for whatever policies we have, that defined documentations, your minimal documentations you have to have in place. But again, I understand the feeling that you might have to, you know, give up so many documents, but that's not the case if we're dealing with coronation. These are regulated documents. They're very simple. They are not much. Take, for instance, if I'm going to do a business protection bundle for you, of course, because it's 5,000, the limit of coverage is 1 million naira. And I'm sure for most of us, our assets are worth more than 1 million naira. So if you have the value of your assets, you can quantify it, send it to us with your certificate of incorporation, your valid ID, and then we can generate a quote for you. And once you pay the premium, we can accept cover for you. And so the idea of providing a lot of documents in actual sense really doesn't exist. And the document can be listed for its product, and they are regulated document that you need to provide. And so the same thing will go to a bank, even though the bank has defined um, a viable means to reduce documentation for us through USSD. We're also coming up with similar products where from the comfort of your house, right? You can, through our platform, do your insurance business. And so you have those documents, you can upload them from your house, then you have insurance in place for you after making payment. So the documents, like we said, is a work in progress. Same way the bank came up with USSD at some point. We'll try as much as possible on our own side to make it as small as possible. And so we don't go looking for a document you had 20 years ago that belongs to your grandfather or great grandfather. But there are minimal documents you need to provide. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to hear that, Coronation and then it's working on something that can be flexible because, a lot of people are always exhausted, when it comes to paper and all of those plenty documents. Thank you so much, sir. And then one last question that we have here is that, this person is asking that, so this insurance claim that covers up to 1 million naira, you mentioned that is an asset. So how about people that just have stocks and inventory? Somebody who sells shoes, and then that's what she sells. She's not like she has an asset per se. Some of the assets, maybe her asset is her phone, and then maybe her sewing machine and all of that. But you mentioned that the claim will cover up to 1 million naira for assets. So can we group stocks under assets for that small business owner?
Yes, your stock is your asset, right? If something happen to your stock, would you still be able to do your business? You might not. So yes, it can be covered under your assets too. So even your insurance, you practically will be able to cover any asset. If it's your phone, your sewing machine, your TV, your furniture, they're all your assets. So and they can be covered.
Oh, okay. Wow. So that means that that particular insurance covers all different various businesses, whether you're in fashion or you're in catering or you're any type of business you're doing at all. It covers for that asset. It's not like this particular insurance is specific to an industry,
Yes, when you say MSME, MSME is all specific to an industry.
right?
MSME covers all the industry, so they're all small business owners. And as long as they have assets for their businesses, yes, they can be covered, whichever industry they belong to.
Okay, thank you, sir. I mean, that's great to hear that it covers different industries so that anybody who is on this call and then they're in various industries, they're able to understand that this insurance cover is inclusive. We are almost coming to the end of the call, but I don't know, you wanted us to go through, I don't know if you still have time, but we're coming towards the end of the webinar. If you still want to share with us.
All right, so I'll quickly, in 1 or 2 minutes, run us through a bit of our coronation. We have over 60 years heritage. We have we have licenses to underwrite all categories of insurance. We have a leading industry balance sheet and solvency. Clearly, our partnership with our reinsurance partners stand us out, and so our service level is one to stand itself if you go to any um, industry player. Coronation is well recognized, and so we're in all parts of the country. We're not just in Lagos. So for those of us who are in Ibadan, Kano, Ilorin, Aba, Owe, just name it, we can walk into any Axel Bank branches, ask for any support in terms of insurance. So clearly, our mantra is to ensure that you leave us better than you were before you met us. We're world leading. We ensure that there's no fine print in anything we're doing. And when I say fine print, there's this notion about insurance company, which I shared earlier. The insurance company are only here to take premium and not make claims. We stood out in the industry when it comes to claim payment. And clearly, our mantra also is um, as it is now to be able to pay claim within 48 hours, but we're driving to that within 24 hours with some cutting-edge technologies that we are launching. And clearly, that's to ensure that you enjoy your services with us at all times. And so, like I said earlier, we have my emails here, contact center email. My phone number is here. I've shared my email earlier, so you can reach out to me anytime if you need additional information for all that I've presented here or any other policy that you think might be beneficial to your business. We're willing to take on that conversation so we can give you a clear route to how you can obtain them. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, sir. And I must say that thank you to Coronation for, being that go-to insurance company that covers every aspect, especially for SME, because SME are the future of every economy. Talk to our small business owners that are on this call. What are your thoughts to them towards insurance? What are the things that you would like to say to them, more like an advice, maybe in a minute or two, just before we round up the session?
Yes, so let me just tell them one thing. Insurance is real. And clearly, insurance helps you a lot, more like I've explained earlier. Don't be shy to show what you have in terms of the need to have them covered. Clearly, one thing is important for you. You need to keep your business as a going concern, whichever way it is. And having insurance in place is a fundamental process to ensure it remains a going concern. You rest assured that more like the bank can be supportive in providing you with the necessary funding you need for your business. Um, Insurance companies too are also working hand in hand to ensure that the MSMEs are giving all the support in terms of providing insurance services to you, give you the education that you need. And also one of the key things we're also trying to drive is creating a platform where you can do some level of training, where you can do some risk management for yourself within your entity. Because in as much as you have insurance in place for your assets, for your property, there's also certain things that you need to put in place, some warranties you need to keep to, some exercise you need to do, some process you need to put in place to ensure that um, you're the first person who can ensure that these risks are handled properly. And just be rest assured that whatever happens to you in terms of claim, all insurance companies in Nigeria are fully enabled and they have the capacity to pay your claim as at when due. So keep doing what you're doing. Like Titi said earlier, this space is the heartbeat of a country. Without you, I don't think our GDP will be where it is. So you guys are doing a great job, the business owners. And from time to time, you can always reach out to share your business ideas and where we can also provide you with enough advisory services to help you within your movement in the financial space. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that.